So as we look at the VUCA world, and as we understand that VUCA world is a world which is volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous, and if you understand the characteristics of each of these components, and if you look at volatility is nothing but a state of unstableness, a state where things are not stable. The rate of change is very fast. And when things are changing, there is no clear pattern or trend. It's not predictable. The change is not predictable. And our industry, our economy, the world that we live in today is an absolutely volatile world. It's changing very fast. The dollar rates, the rupee, the value of rupee against dollar, fluctuating. No predictable, no clear pattern, no clear trend. So that's an example of a volatile environment. What is uncertainty? Uncertainty is about a future which is uncertain, which is not known, where the outcomes cannot be predicted, where there could be potential surprises all the time. So it's going to continue. We have no idea how many people are going to get infected worldwide. We have no idea whether another pandemic or another epidemic is going to come in the near future or not. It's uncertain. Complexity. A complex world is highly complicated world where there are too many nuances. There are multifaceted effects, and there are interdependent causes. But the causes can be many, and they could be interconnected. And the effects also can be multifaceted. It's not linear. It's not a linear world. It's a complex world. When you write exams, and then when you have multiple choice questions, it's very simple when you have to choose one answer. But sometimes the question would ask you to pick up 2 or 3 options which could be correct. Then it becomes complex. So a complex world is not a linear world. It's not a simple world. It's a complicated world. There are too many diversities. There are too many complexities. There are too many parts. For example, if you're running a business which is spread across multiple countries, if your business is in multiple countries, there are and then there are just too many complexities for you to run your business. You have to follow the rules and regulations of every country, the law of every land, the culture of the people in every country, and so on. If you take one decision about the organization, it might become very effective in one country. It may not work for you in another country. So these are complexities of our business, complexities of our economy, complexities of the world that we live in today. And ambiguity. Ambiguity is all about misrepresentation of the real world. In an ambiguous world, there is very little clarity. There's very little clarity about what is real, what is true. So ambiguity is all about a state where things are unclear, things are hazy. And my dear friends, my dear young students, the future of the industry and this country, don't you think that we live in a world which is absolutely volatile, where the change is very fast and absolutely unpredictable, where the future is unknown, where there are complexities and complications are far too many, with multiple diversities, nuances, and a world which is hazy, not clear, where the clarity is absolutely missing. So if you can use the chat window and then quickly respond to me and then say whether does this VUCA world resonate with you? Yes or a no? Quickly, in about next 15 seconds.
Yeah. Guys, move on to your chat window. There is a cloud. I can. Yeah. Srini says yes. Vishnu says yes. Shruti, yes. We get a lot of yes, sir. Yeah.
All right, so looks like then it resonates with you. We understand that we are living in a world which is volatile, uncertain, complex, ambiguous. So, ladies and gentlemen, is good news or bad news? Use the chat window and then tell me. Are you worried about it? What is your mental?
Raja Rajeshwari, can you be on mute? Yeah.
Yeah, please don't unmute yourself. Just be on mute and then use the chat option. And then just with one word, narrate your mental state, your frame of mind when you
Yeah.
think about a word.
Smriti says extremely worried about it. Bad news. Bad news. Unpleasant news. Kind of both mixed. Yeah. These are some of the responses.
All right, so I think the responses are worried, bad news, mixed feelings, not sure about what to do, etc., etc., etc. Okay, so how many of you feel that we will go back to a world in the near future which is not volatile but stable, which is not uncertain but certain, which is not complex but simple, which is not ambiguous but clear? How many of you believe? Use the chat window and then let me know. How many of you believe that the world is going to go back to a state which is stable, certain, simple, and everything is clear? Absolutely no ambiguity. How many of you believe that we will soon go back to that state?
We got few responses. Highly impossible to some extent. Unpredictable, impossible, hypothetical, more chaos, never going to happen,
Okay.
not possible. I think we have made enough damage. That's what they are trying to say.
All right. So, okay. So interesting and very happy to hear this response because that's the truth. Because we are not going to get back to a world which is going to be stable, certain, simple, and very, very simple and clear, not ambiguous at all in the near future. I have no idea whether it'll happen in future or not, but I'm very sure it's not going to happen in the near future. Most likely may not be in our generation, not through our generation, not sure about the future ones. Um, so the reality is the VUCA world is here to stay, ladies and gentlemen. It's here to stay. And the most important thing for us is to be prepared for it. And the most important thing for us then is to understand how do we deal with this. And some of you rightfully said it's going to become more complex. It's going to become more volatile. It's going to become more complex and more ambiguous. And you are absolutely right. It's only going to get worse from where it is today. It's not going to get any better, simpler, or stable and more clear and certain. So now let's figure out how do we deal with this. Today we're going to talk about the life skills or the important traits that we need to develop to be able to deal with this VUCA world more effectively. That's the challenge that we have, and that's what we need to deal with. And we're going to look at 7 traits. 7 traits are what I'm going to share with you. If you take away those traits, those learnings, apply them consciously in your personal, professional life from today onwards, I can tell you, in the midst of all the uncertainty and ambiguity, I can tell you with certainty that with a great degree, with a great level of um, proficiency, you will be able to deal with the VUCA world better. Now let's go through these 7 traits. Let's look at the first one. The first one is get used to uncertainty. The first one is, hey, this world is going to remain like this. Let's be mentally prepared for it. Let's not believe, let's not be in a state of denial that things are going to become certain and stable and simple. Rather, let's get used to it. And in some of my lectures to students across different parts of India and abroad, I have repeatedly said, be prepared to lose your job. Be prepared to have your career disrupted. Be prepared to get laid off several times in your career. Be prepared to lose your investments in your startup and start all over again. The first and foremost trait is getting used to this uncertainty, because certainty is not going to be the reality of life anymore. The sooner we get used to it, the sooner we believe that the world is not going to get back to a more stable and normal state, the sooner we get used to the fact that it's going to remain like this, it's better. So we need to develop that mental resilience to be able to deal with uncertainty. It's the mental makeup, it's the auto suggestion, it's the preparedness that, hey, I'm getting into a world of uncertainty. I might fall down, I might fail many times, I might have plenty of surprises, I might plan something and my plan may completely go haywire, but I'm getting used to it. That's the first trait that all of us need to develop if we want to deal with this VUCA world better. Let's look at the second trait. The next one is about is the ability to see things before they come. Don't wait for things to come and hit you. See them before they come. Let me give you an example. All these neighborhood coffee shops, whether in Coimbatore or Chennai or in Bangalore, many of them closed down not because the Starbucks came there, but they could not see the change that is coming. They could not see how Starbucks is coming and going to disrupt the way people experience taking coffee. All these taxi agencies closed down not because Uber and Ola came, but they closed down because they could not see the change that is coming their way. You know, we used to live in a time when a customer used to beg before the taxi guy, hey, can you take me there, please? But today the customer is the king. The taxi is available at the click of a button and a most comfortable ride at the least possible price. Fantastic experience for the customer. The taxi guys, the taxi agencies, they could not see the change that is coming. Most of these theaters across the country and mostly in our tier 1, tier 2 cities closed down. They have been dismantled, and malls and multiplexes have been constructed there. Office buildings have been constructed there. The companies like PVRs and Inoxes of this world, they have come and they have killed those small time theaters. And there was an opportunity that companies like PVRs and Inoxes could see, because in the past, most of the theaters had noisy fans, stinky seats, chairs, unclean bathrooms, toilets, and did not have proper experience. But today, the world had changed. This company came and they changed the way people experience watching movies. And the small time theaters could not see the change coming their way. So the most important thing is to see the change before they come. If you want to deal with the VUCA world, otherwise you will get disrupted. Otherwise you will get impacted. So that's the second important trait. See the things before they come your way. Now let's look at the third trait. Third one is be a lifelong learner. So once you complete your MBA in about a year from now, do you believe that your learning is over? Do you think that you've acquired all the knowledge that you need to acquire? If you think, then you are grossly mistaken. You need to believe that you need to become students all your life, not just for the next year, next 1 year. You need to become lifelong learners. The world is going to change. The world is going to throw up new challenges. There are new technologies which are going to come. There are new business models which are going to evolve. There are new ways of doing things that will come. We need to learn. We need to learn new ways of doing things. We need to learn new technologies. We need to learn new business models. We need to learn new methodologies, new concepts, new ideas all the time. We need to become lifelong learners. We need to keep learning all our life. That's yet another important trait that all of us need to have to deal with the VUCA world better. Now let's go to the fourth one. The next trait. Take risks, experiment, and fail. You must be thinking, what a suggestion this gentleman is giving us. He's saying fail? Yes, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying take risks. Take risks where you don't know the outcomes of your action. You know that your outcome may be positive, it may be negative, but be prepared to take the risk. Experiment with your ideas. Try something, do prototypes, and fail. Don't worry if you fail. If I ask you, which is the most reputed company today in your mind, if you were to use the chat window and give me some responses. The most
Yeah,
reputed company with a great brand.
the brand comes to your mind. Infosys, Amazon, Tata, Sony, Microsoft, Google, Apple, Reliance. These are few
It's great.
responses.
You have shared some great names, and I'm not going to. I'll just go pick up one name out of this 7 or 8 names that you suggested. Let's pick up Google. Um, and why we know Google? Because they have launched great products. You know, the Google search engine, the Google Hangout, the Google Classroom, series of products with Google. Google has just launched so many path-breaking products. But do you know how many failures they had in their tenure as an organization, in their span as an organization? Very few of us know that they have got dozens and dozens and dozens of failures in their entire journey so far. You know, to name a few of them: Google Picasso, Google Plus, Orkut. Some of these were outstanding failures. They launched those products and they were absolutely failures. They did not click, they did not succeed, they did not fly. A highly successful company is so successful, has such a great brand name, has launched such great products. And we know about the good products they have launched, but very few of us know about the failures. And they are what they are today because of the failures they had. because the launches that did not click for them. And had they not failed, they wouldn't have reached where they have reached today, with probably the highest valued company, or one of the highest valued companies in the world today, the most highly valued companies. They have got there because they have taken risks, they have experimented, they have made mistakes, they have failed miserably, and they have succeeded. But the beauty of this failure is the ability to fail fast, not to take too long a time to fail. The most important thing about failure is to try, experiment, and fail quickly and learn from your mistakes, make course corrections, and then bring out successful products, ideas, and concepts. That's the power of experimenting, taking risks, trying out new things, making mistakes, and failing. And that's the only way you can succeed, only way you can deal with the VUCA world better. How many of you are willing to take risks in your life, experiment, and fail? Give me a response in the chat window. Professor, what response is coming? Professor, can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me, sir?
Hello, sir.
Now I can.
Yeah, there are a lot of response saying yes.
Yes.
And on Google, Arun Prakash has shared a website killedbygoogle.com. Maybe to Google has shared all the failures that are made. You might to check that. The responses are on already, sir.
Fantastic. Fantastic. So I'm happy to hear that all of you are willing to take risks. All of you are willing to experiment. And all of you are willing to experiment at the cost of success. When you're prepared to fail, I think that's the most important thing. It could mean that losing a promotion. It could mean that losing a high paying job. It could mean losing an investment opportunity in your startup or whatever. But I think the ability to take risks, experiment, and fail is the most important, is one of the most important traits that are required to deal with the VUCA world better. Now let's move on.
So we have a question from Anand. Should we park here, or we'll park the question for the end of the session?
I think we can pick it up at the end if that's okay with you.
Yeah, yes, we'll do that at the end of the session. Thank you.
Perfect. But I'll take the question for sure. All right. So the next important trait is act decisively with speed and agility. So this is exactly what I was saying, which is related to the previous trait that we talked about, is to act decisively, take decisions. Take decisions. Doesn't matter whether the decision is right or wrong, but take decisions, move quickly with speed and agility. So the speed and agility is important. If you're setting up a startup and you have a great idea, you need to hit the market the fastest. So that's what Jack Ma, who is the founder of Alibaba, says very clearly. Don't always try to be the best, but try to be the first. Be the first one to reach the market. Be the first one to launch the product. Be the first one to provide a service. That's important, because if you don't do that with speed, your competition might pick up that great idea and then reach your customer faster than you can. Possibly you may, because you cannot assume that you only have the best idea. Competition could have a equally good idea or even a better idea, sometimes maybe a lesser idea, but moves faster, can reach the faster, can get the market share faster. So be the first one to get there. Act decisively with speed and agility is important. Don't worry about making mistakes. So the agility brings that element of course correction. So you move in quickly, make mistakes, learn from that, and then make course correction. So acting decisively with speed and agility is another important trait, ladies and gentlemen, we need to develop to be able to deal with the VUCA world better. We can move on to the next one. Develop empathy. You might say, well, you are sounding very theoretical, very idealistic, philosophical, and so on. But this is a big challenge that our leaders are grappling with today. Organizations are grappling with today. We lack leaders with empathy. Empathy is the ability to care for your people, your customers, your stakeholders, your partners in the business, your the end users of your product, your environment, your society. The empathy for understanding of diversities, empathy for different people from different cultures, understanding that people are different, the values are different, their preferences are different, the cultures are different. Being able to have empathy to people who come with different ideas, different from your ideas, who bring different values which are different from yours, who have different opinions and views. Being able to have empathy for everyone from all walks of life, from all cultures and countries. Because as we move into this VUCA world, we also need to remember that we are going to work for organizations which are global, where the customers and partners, the supply chain can be all over the globe, where you may have to cater to the needs of a global audience, a global target population. If that's your objective, then you have to not just have to have empathy for everybody, but you also need to be able to adapt, embrace, and accept diversities, accept different opinions, accept different cultures, and be able to bring people with different diversities, values, and backgrounds to a common vision, to a common purpose. That's where empathy will play an important role. That's why empathy becomes a very, very, very critical trait that all leaders need to possess if they have to deal with the VUCA world better. Now we go to the last one. Keep pushing towards your goal. This is nothing but perseverance. Keep pushing. Imagine, think about River Ganga, which started from the mountains, from the peak of the Himalayas. When it started flowing, it had one thing in mind. It had its goal in its mind. The goal was to reach the sea, the ocean. Imagine a river which started flowing from the mountains of Himalayas, from the peak of the Himalayas, had to pass through several other mountains, several other lakes, rivers, land mass, and several obstacles on its way to its destination. But the river sometimes went over an obstacle, sometimes it went below an obstacle, sometimes it found an alternate path, but it kept on flowing. That's the beauty. That's the power. That's the power of keeping going. That's important. So to keep pushing towards your goal is absolutely important. Being perseverant, not giving up in the midst of failures, frustrations, setbacks. Keep flowing, keep moving, keep going towards your goal. That's another important trait that I wanted to talk about as we get ready to deal with the VUCA world. So, young men and women, so these are the 7 traits that I wanted to talk to you about as you get ready to deal with, to move, step into the real world from your campuses, from your families, from your universities, and get ready to move into the world which is volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. These 7 traits will keep you going, will get you going. Get used to uncertainty. Be a lifelong learner. Be prepared to experiment, try, make mistakes, and fail. Have empathy and keep pushing towards your goal. As we move on quickly, friends, as you step out of this university, this campus, this program, as you step into the real world, you will see 3 roads ahead of you. One road can lead all of us to perish, another can lead us to survive, another, the third one, can lead us to thrive. If you move on to the next slide, it talks about who will take the road to perish. Those of us who continue to remain in a state of denial, those who believe that the old world, we will go back to the old world which was stable, which was normal, we will definitely take this dangerous path. If you believe that we'll get back to the old normal, if you believe there is no need to change, if you resist change, if we get frustrated with change, then we are the ones who will take the path to perish. We are the ones who will blame everybody else for our suffering. As we move to the next slide, this talks about who are the ones who will take the road to survive. Those of us who acknowledge that the world around us is changing. Those of us who believe that the world will become the same after every black swan event, after every major event like COVID-19 or a Brexit or a tsunami and so on. Those of us who stay in a state of exploration. Those of us who will continue to explore new opportunities and possibilities. Those of us who will make a serious effort to change and adapt to the new world. Those of us who will be eager and prepared to change ourselves. Those are the ones who will take the road to survive. And let's look at the last one. People who are going to take the road to thrive. So there are a few of us who will, of course, not going to perish. They're not just going to survive, but they're going to thrive. They're going to succeed. They're going to rule the new world. They're the ones who are going to see the change before it comes. They can change faster than the change that happens outside them. So change cannot beat them because they can change faster than change. While we say that we need to, the survivors will adapt to change. They'll wait for change to happen and they will adapt. They will embrace. But these ones will change faster than change. They will see the change coming and then they will change themselves before change happens to them. They're the ones who can reimagine themselves, reimagine their role, reimagine their function, reimagine their business model, completely reimagine, and then they can switch over to the new world quickly. They're the ones who are excited about the prospects of the new world. They're the ones who will rule the new world. They're the ones who will take the road to thrive. And the key characteristics of these people who will take the road to thrive are the ones who can reimagine themselves. When the COVID-19 crisis came in, there was a great reimagination, reinvention that happened. The government announced that the trains will now become quarantine places. Trains will be converted into hospitals, moving hospitals. A great example of reimagination. ITC, they decided that to supply their groceries They did not have a supply network, door-to-door supply network. So they quickly tied up with Domino's and they said, Domino's and ITC will collaborate. Their groceries will be taken to the consumer's customer's house through the delivery boys of Domino's. Great reinvention, reimagination. Car manufacturers, automobile companies started manufacturing ventilators. Great example of reimagination. It's not about getting cowed down by the situation. It's not about believing that the world has come to a stop because you can't run your business anymore. It's about the belief that you can reimagine, adapt, embrace, and then reinvent, and then bring about a change. They're the ones who are going to thrive. That takes us to the end of the session. As we move to the last slide, you can see here, my dear friends, today we're living through the most exciting yet most turbulent times in history. The times are most turbulent, most challenging, yet most interesting and most exciting. Thank you very much. In the last slide, I have some coordinates about me if you want to reach me, my email ID, etc. Yeah, if you move to the last slide.